going to get some hands-on testing some pure open source large language models and using such kind of open source model to build my cognitive bot and also generate some synthetic data. Let's start. So if you have not yet familiar with the concept, what is the embedding model, what is the completion model, just refer to my previous video session for introduction. Okay, how can we use in the open source language models? Basically, there are two different ways. So firstly, you can always directly using the one open source model for text-to-text generation. So in this lab, we are going to demonstrate how can I fast prototype a cognitive question and answering bot with domain knowledge. So I'm going to using the advanced open source embedding models such as E5 large V2 and also some excellent open source models such as like FastChat T5 for the completion purpose. In the second way, if we are not satisfied with the accuracy and the latency of the open source model, you can firstly using the open source model to generate some high quality synthetic data to free out any data privacy and security concerns using the public large language model such like OpenAI, ChatGPT, and so on. So in this way, once you generate some like the dummy synthetic data, you can input them as some prop into a proprietary large language models for any downstream specific NLP task you want to do. So in the second test, we are going to show how to automatically generate such kind of synthetic data using the open source model as well. Let's start. I already get my streaming app with the QnA Bot, the ability up and running. So this is using all the open source, the model for the embedding and the completion, as I just mentioned. Let's actually supply some like the sample PDF document with some domain knowledge. Here, again, I just using some like the Microsoft Business Center FAQ, the document as some sample, very simple, it's just like 3 pages with a couple of the question and answers as like a typical demo. Okay, let's actually to input this FAQ document into the GUI, and then behind the scene, our open source Python PDF reader and also the using the embedding model to generate the embedding vectors to actually to create the knowledge search database will happen behind the scene. So after a while, we'll see like the knowledge search will be ready. Quick test. First of all, I'm going to show the PDF sample document I'm using. Actually download from the internet, the Microsoft Business Center custom FAQ with a bunch of the question and the answerings. Okay, so we're going to use it for the demo purpose. Okay, this is our Python script. So basically, for this kind of the question and answering bot with the domain knowledge, we already do it before using the Azure OpenAI and AI, the large language models, such like the DaVinci text models and so on. So today I'm going to try to replace them using all the open source models and for the same purpose. Okay, so first of all, to actually replace the open source, the text embedding add model with the open source E5 large V2 model. Okay, and then so also replace the OpenAI's the text DaVinci 003 model for the completion using the open source FastChat T5 model here. Now let's try to see how it goes with our new app building using the pure open source large language models. So this Streamlit app has already up and running. So we can just like drag and drop this FAQ document. Behind the scene, the document will be read into the memory by the open source Python PDF reader, and then the open source embedding model will vectorize all the text into the embedding vectors to create knowledge database ready for semantic search. Okay, so and just in minutes we can see like how long it will take. So for the document embedding latency is quite small. Okay, let's actually input our question. So what is not changing about Business Center? Okay, just ask any question about the Microsoft Business Center. So let's see if such kind of the bot, the building using the pure 100% open source larger models can working similar as like all these kind of private language models. So normally it's you need to wait for bit time because it's a bit slow, okay, and using the open source large models, and code is deployed locally in your machine, okay. Just wait a second. Okay, let's see. After about 13-14 seconds, we get answer. Your MPSA, the program rules, not the data or the information about your license, subscription, benefit you currently will access through the MVP. Okay, right. So this is the quite nice demo of the open source large language models. The is quite useful, and we can use it also for building some interesting the generative AI app. Okay. Now let's see another use case of the using the open source large model to actually to create some synthetic data. Okay. For this purpose, I'm going to using the GPT-4o. Okay. So we already done that, and recently I found some like the updates. For example, and the best overall model and the best overall smaller model has been like the the updated. So now the Falcon is become the best overall smaller model, and we can give it a test because it's have fast response and it's instruction based foundation, and that is very useful to following the user's instructions and query. And also it's licensed a lot for the commercial use case. That is also very good. Besides that, you can also like download many other models, along such kind of like the Groovy, Snoozy, we already saw it, and also the MPT, series models, and also the QnA models, okay, larger and best models, wizard models, okay. So there are actually and also the many other different variations of open source, the large language models you can use in here, okay. So I already download this kind of the GPT-4o Falcon model. Let's have a test. So I prepare some prop. So basically, so create a table containing 3 new data samples with the the same data format or the following, and let's see, can the model generate the synthetic data we need. So why we need doing this? Because the often, and if we are working in the enterprise environment, so a lot of the data is like the sensitive, the internal data about the customers and about the internal operations. It has some like the privacy and security concerns. In this case, you cannot expose and upload your the sensitive data to the public, the large language models such like OpenAI, the ChatGPT models and so on. In this case, so ideally, if you can just generate some like the high quality synthetic data, you can using the synthetic data to actually do all the experiments with the public, the large language models without any worry about the data privacy security breach. So that is also very good. As you can see, now the Falcon model is able to quickly to generate some synthetic data, complying with my requirement. So following all these kind of the columns and the features I needed. So, and all these kind of the customer name and the contact phone number is actually the dummy information, just like dummy placeholder. That is good. Okay. So now once you got that, you can using this kind of the synthetic data, for whatever the downstream purpose. You can just input it safely into the OpenAI's public language models to generate like the more response for the specific the questions and so on. Okay. So okay, hopefully today you learn something. Okay. Last of all, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep updated to the latest trends on the generative AI, and also download all these kind of useful resources for your personal study and purpose. Thanks a lot. See you next time.